Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is Tuesday, October 10th, 2017, here on the Rancho. And, well, it's been a devastating 24 hours, 36 hours now, as you guys know. We want to do a little recap. We want to go over some things. We want to go over some lessons learned here, very apropos to fire, our response to it, and what we would or would not attempt to do to save our place here. Number one, Missy Jen, I'll let you give the thank yous. Our messenger's been going off the hook.
Yes, I want to say thank you to each and everybody that has been leaving the wonderful comments and messages.
Yeah, on Facebook,
on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all the sites that we're on, and about the tragic events that have been unfolding here in Santa Rosa with huge fires that are going on here. So
that's our number one thing, is to thank.
So thank you,
because the number of comments, the number of well wishes has been enormous. There's no way we can take time. You know, we were packing up today, and we were in evacuation mode because at 3 o'clock today, that was it, Missy Jen. I was ready to pull the trigger. There was literally, it was raining ashes down on the rancho here, and Jen and I were just about to turn the keys and leave the rancho here. So thank you very much. Our time has been super precious today. I did manage to get out early this morning before the fires got a little more ragey here, and we almost left this afternoon. I was not in danger, maybe the odd power line dropping or something like that. There are a lot of power lines down, a lot of wooden structures, telephone poles, guardrail supports on highways and things like that. So I was out there this morning capturing that. I crossed, where they wouldn't let cars through. I walked through and got the video. This afternoon, that was locked up tighter than a drum. There was police on every possible access, making sure that nobody could get into those places.
I got up at 5:45.
Yeah, I poked in. And
you said go back to bed and sleep, but how can...
Well, I'm just saying keep alert.
How can somebody...
I don't want to panic here or anything on that. So let's rewind a little bit and let's go over, what happened here and some of the consequences of this. Number one, it's important that we say, climatologically speaking, Northern California and all of California is a very dry place. We have a very defined wet season. Other than that, we don't get rain on any single day from like April 1st until January 1st. It's rare to get a drop of rain. So given that amount of time, you can imagine by mid-October, everything is just tinder dry out here. And the slightest little, somebody rolls off the highway and their exhaust pipe or their muffler touches the grass, all of a sudden we have raging grass fires here. So the bottom line, though, is that number one, it's very dry. Okay, so that's the first thing. Number two, there's always a fire burning somewhere, and it just happened in an area that there were several ones that were reasonably well contained. One of them was called the Tubbs fire, and it's to the the east of us. Well, last night we had a cold front come through. And that cold front effectively made that Tubbs fire a blowtorch that moved to the west. The fire was swept up by the wind up to, what did you say, 80 miles?
They said 84 miles.
Yeah, we had hurricane force winds coming through here. And it took that fire to the east of Santa Rosa and it swept it down the mountains. And like a blowtorch, you can imagine 80-mile-an-hour winds hitting that fire. It just accelerated, and that fire raced word at 15 miles, 10 to 15 miles an hour. It came down the hills of Santa Rosa, basically destroyed the north end of town, jumped Highway 101 moved to the west over 101, and just made like a swath, just destroyed whole block after block after block of homes.
Eight blocks by 8 blocks.
Just in one area. So they don't even know in the northern area of the city, up in the hills, how many people are dead, how many people are alive. You got heroes that stand there with their garden hoses while a wall of flames sweeps down on the hill, refusing to leave the area. And a really sad thing about the very expensive area here called Fountain Grove, and Missy Jen, it's an area we metal detected.
We metal detected, yes.
And we got a couple of silver coins out of there, and we did a little history and
there's a piggery where we found the 2 silver coins.
So it holds a lot of memories for us. It also has what's called a round barn, which is a very rare thing, a gigantic round barn that was like a symbol of Santa Rosa.
Right.
That has all been destroyed as that fire swept down the hill.
Yeah.
That area up there is called Fountain Grove, and it's the most expensive area. Most homes are about, I don't know, 800,000 to 1.2 million, because they have gorgeous views over the Santa Rosa Plain, and they look down on the city, and it's very nice. The problem is, though, when you live on a hill like that, fire moves very rapidly when wind gets behind that. And, years ago when that area, they had a referendum for the residents there to vote whether they wanted a fire station up on Fountain Grove, and the residents defeated the proposal to build. Santa Rosa wanted to put a fire station up there. Well, that decision, who knows what that's cost them in the course of things. A fire that might have been contained sweeping over those hills there just destroyed everything in its path. We have no idea. Nobody's allowed up there. Everything is locked down tight in this city. So where do we stand in this? If you think about Santa Rosa as just a circle, we're kind of right in the middle of the circle, just to the south of a line across the middle there, and just right on the down line too. We're almost in the crosshairs, right in. We were not in an evacuation zone, but the winds have taken several radical shifts. And this morning I had to rush to try to get stuff, make sure everything was up on the medical cloud for the offices and things, to make sure all records and things. I couldn't get to the other facilities, closed down, and moved the patients out of the hospital. I mean, it's been a really devastating time here, but I got home, and I didn't want to necessarily alarm Missy Jen, but I kind of knew she wouldn't go back to sleep anyway when she heard that, because, the first thing I woke up this morning, my ex is telling me, you've got to flee the city. It's coming over the hills. And well, luckily our area was pretty much spared, but this afternoon there was a bit of a shift, and all of a sudden we had the ashes were coming out of the sky.
And it was was literally smoke was coming to the streets.
Yeah, it's been dark smoke. You saw the video this morning. There's all kinds of toxic things. There's gas stations, tire stores. Things have been taken out. Vehicles just consumed on the street. You think that you can defend against something like this, but you can't, because the wind whips that so strongly that one tiny little ember gets up on the roof and it's gone, and that's it. It was frustrating for me this morning when I was out, because I was standing in one area where this bridal shop, where a small little fire had broken out under the eave, and I went across the street and I told the fire guy about it, and he's just like, sorry, we're stretched too thin. There's nothing we can do. We can't go put out. I mean, they have natural gas that's leaking across the street there and flaring off, and it's a mess, and they're so stretched. He's like, we're the Santa Rosa Fire Department, and we're the first line, and we're crumpled. We've had 12 hours. We're done. We're a spent force on this thing, and we're just regrouping and trying to get ourselves together. We had fire departments from hundreds of miles away have been through here. And the other tragedy, Missy Jen, is that this is a very urban fire. You know, it's not like out in the countryside with a forest. This thing is as I said, it's a blowtorch coming from the east and blowing into the west. Fire, a wall of fire coming through the city. And you have fire trucks trying to get up narrow streets with two-side parking and getting trapped at the end of cul-de-sacs and circles and things. And it's just too tight. It's an urban fire. So as a result, everything just gets laid to waste in here. And there's nothing the fire department can do about it. There's not a darn thing. I didn't see any water being sprayed today on anything around here. We've lost a lot of historic structures. We lost the Fountain Grove Hilton here, which was a really premier hotel, Cricklewood restaurant, which is world renowned. There's been the loss and devastation here have been tremendous, and I fear the loss of life is going to climb quite rapidly now. Now, we're not out of the soup yet, because there's literally, as Johnny Cash would say, a ring of fire around here. And right now we're lucky because there's no wind at all. Last night was a cold front.
We're now fortunate that the wind has died down and actual temperatures have dropped into the 60s.
Yeah, so we're a little cooler, and every time we hear a siren, we've heard sirens going off all day. Vehicles racing around, companies we don't even know, fire companies running around. But you know, the video that you see, the Great Santa Rosa fire, it really is a great fire. I mean, it's tremendous in scope. And you know, Missy Jen was upset. I mean, this is a beautiful place to live 95% of the time. If you remove the earthquakes and the wildfires, it's a great place to live. I didn't mean to upset Missy Jen today, but the one thing I can assure you is that there was no way that I would stay here and try to defend the place, because this thing is just like a wall of fire. You come through, and a garden hose sprayed on the structures, no defense against 50, 60 mile an hour winds, literally creating a blowtorch. So we had some tears here today. It was tough at 2 o'clock. I told Jen it's time to, you can see a lot of the vintage audio units are gone. All of our important papers are packed up and ready to go at a moment's notice, because I kind of expected at about 3 o'clock for the authorities to come down the Street of Shattered Dreams and announce that evacuations, this is now an evacuation zone, and let's move it. And I wouldn't stick around, guys. I've seen too much horrors today of what goes on out there. So we're safe. We're grateful to you. We're still very aware. We're in a ring of fire around us. We know down at Janet and the bosses, they have fires going on down there.
Yeah, they have that 5,000 acre fire.
Yeah, ours is 25,000 and theirs is a 5,000. You know, ours. So we're all very aware of things here. So, but we are safe and we are grateful. That's what happens when you combine wind with very dry material, and a small fire can just explode with catastrophic results. There's, what is it, Jen? 20,000 people without homes.
20,000 people are now in shelters, and 15,500 structures have been destroyed by fire.
Yeah, we're talking about the YOLOs, Napa,
the Kmart that we used to go shop and make videos, it's gone.
Kmart's gone.
Multiple restaurants that we
Arby's, where we did reviews
are gone.
The nice guy that with the metal detecting was going to go with us.
The Arby's, it's gone, and
the city's going to be changed a lot, and that people are going to be in shock here for a significant period of time. The good news, if there is any, is that, well, I don't know, a good portion of the city, I'm sure, had good insurance, you know, especially in some of the fancy areas and some of the poorer areas. If you Google in Coffee Park, Santa Rosa, Coffee Lane, those people probably, you know, mobile home parks went up and all kinds of things.
Yeah, 50 mobile homes, not one park.
Yeah, and there's just an 8x8 block that just got blowtorched.
Yeah.
Some people were, you know, they had banging at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. You got to go, and you don't know what that feeling is like, you know, and you're just discombobulated, and you're trying to think what can I grab? I mean, this fire really caught people off guard. Well, I want to thank you for your patience today, and for the last time to thank you, at least for this time, for your kind thoughts and prayers and everything else. It's going to take a couple days. I've delayed the videos from Lake Tahoe. Obviously, we have a lot of stuff still in the can to share with you. We had a very devastating ride up Highway 101.
We're still not out of it yet.
We're not out of it. Wednesday, we're going to attempt to go around. I don't think on car we're going to be allowed in, but on foot and rolling in the wheelchair, maybe we will, to try to get some of the aftermath. It's meanwhile, if you want the up-to-date coverage, our local newspaper is called the Press Democrat, and they have all the features and all the coverage of it up to date all the time. That's our local Santa Rosa newspaper. We had a big fire here in 1964, and at that time the students from the junior college actually had to get up there on the hills and fight the fire, but it was a much smaller city then, and there's no way that they could do something like that today. Make sure you have a defensible place around your home. These people like all the brushes and all the natural grasses and things in California, but that stuff is just like a torch flying across the when that wind gets a hold of that. It's fire safety. Make sure that your smoke detectors are in and they're working.
Fire extinguishers. The hose outside with lots of pressure and whatnot.
A hero.
Okay. And also, don't be afraid to pack your bags and evacuate.
Yeah. So we're going to keep ourselves packed up for a few more days till they get some containment. Okay, everybody, have yourselves a good Tuesday, and we'll try to get up what we can. Thanks so much.